picture. I'll take a dirty picture for you. Take a dirty picture.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. Miseducation and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. We are live, as always, and we are coming to you from lifestyleradio.net. I'm your host, Al Graham. Tonight, as we have been for a few weeks now, we are coming to you live from the front window here at Canada's, located in Camelford. So if you're in the area, stop in, and we'll get you to join in the conversation. Also tonight is the debut of our new joint host, Alicia Yashcheshen. And she has a guest that loves to go to the mall and loves to help patients as well. But before we find out more about our guests, we're going to have a little talk with Alicia. Hello, Alicia.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. And yourself?
I'm real good. I'm just surviving this blizzard that we had in Saskatchewan for the past 2 days.
Blizzard? How much snow did you get?
Oh, gosh, we got, drifts up to your, waist. You can't even see over the banks on the sides of the road. So we got dumped on.
Wow! Holy crap! We're looking at brown fields because there's no snow on them.
Oh, really?
We haven't got any snow here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully we did.
Maybe we're in this deep south of Canada. So yeah, we haven't got any snow here. So, but it's gonna get cold tomorrow. I think we're getting some of that cold weather that you've just went through.
Yeah, for sure. I'm waiting for it to warm up. Here, I thought it was spring already because we had such beautiful weather and it was melting and all of our snow was pretty much gone. But unfortunately, Mother Nature had a different plan for us. But no worries. It's coming. Spring is coming.
Yes. Well, it is. It's the 22nd of March, spring.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's coming. Whether you're going to still have snow or not, you'll find out then. So. But okay, so tonight is your debut. You get started as the person asking the questions. You nervous?
Oh no.
No. Good. Well, I guess, like you say, when we had you on the show there 2 weeks ago, you're going to go through as applied for a lawyer, so you're going to be asking questions and the tough questions all the time.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's good. Let's see. Tonight we've got. I got to remind everybody we've got free stuff that we're going to give away as we do for every show. Whether it's DVDs, books, we got pins. I don't know. We got all kinds of stuff. We got posters, a whole slew of things. And usually I just grab a few things, throw them in an envelope, and send them off to somebody. But first you got to go to the PACE website at pace-online.ca and write us and let us know that you want some free stuff. And we'll send some to you. So anywhere in Canada, doesn't matter. Hey, I even probably send to the States. I haven't thought. We haven't had anybody from out of the country yet. So
awesome.
See what happens.
Maybe we should open the floor up.
That's right. Exactly. Okay, Alicia, in our news article for today, there's been a lot of talk lately about the pesticides. There's patients now. There's 2 lawsuits that have started. You've seen them?
I have, yes, and I'm very happy to see that they've actually been filed and that the ball is rolling on them for sure.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And I know I've been contacted by a few patients that have wondered, what's going on. Should I get a hold of them? So on and so forth. So I just give them some information, and they've contacted them, got involved. So it's
awesome. And I guess recently it was in the news that the companies that are being sued have hired their own legal counsel to fight the class action. So I guess at this point it'll be for the courts to decide whether or not they were responsible for thousands probably of people ingesting this highly, highly dangerous pesticide, which is just unfortunate because now what are going to be the health consequences because of this, right? Because we don't know. It's still in the preliminary stages of like the damages, right? So hopefully they'll get what they're seeking and they'll be able to heal and move on from this. But yeah, this is a really low blow to cannabis, like the use of that fungicide and pesticides, right? So
yeah, and especially if authority figures are using the dispensaries as a negative because you don't know what's in it and there's pesticides in it and stuff like that. Well, now we've seen that with the legal system,
Oh, for sure. And it just drives home the point that the government can't guarantee that their system, their LP system, is infallible and that it's actually safe. Like at this point, I don't trust LPs for this sole reason, amongst other things. But at the end of the day, like that's a dangerous, dangerous pesticide to be putting into your body, and especially by virtue of smoking it. Like we don't even know what these people are going to go through over the next, couple of years because of this. So
Yeah, exactly. And the interesting, and this is the news article, was the fact that they discussed using pesticides 2 years ago. 2 years before it became, 2 years ago. They discussed using that same pesticide, that same chemical, and some of them were for it. Like, it
just goes to show how uneducated they are about actually growing cannabis in a healthily way, right? Like this is not for recreational purposes in most cases. This is a medicine. And so when you're dumping a bunch of chemicals into that medicine, it's no different than gangs growing cash crops to sell on the streets. They're exactly like gangs, you know what I mean, if you really want to make that analogy, because they didn't care about their consumer and who was going to consume that product. Like, I wonder if any children have been affected by this. So, I mean, like this is a dark situation for them, and for them to argue that dispensaries are unsafe is totally erroneous, like totally incorrect. And I would trust a dispensary over an LP any day.
It's interesting here. I'm just reading this article, and it says that Tilray and MedRelief were in favor of using this this spray. So are they using it now? And then another company wanted to use some other prohibited chemicals as well. Like, if these things are prohibited, they're prohibited for a reason.
Oh, for sure. And like resurrecting them or taking them off a prohibited list. Like, I mean, where's the common sense in that? That's asinine. Like, you're putting people's like health and well-being at jeopardy, to make a quick buck? Like, that's shameful. And, at the end of the day, the government should be embarrassed for allowing them to use pesticides, herbicides, like any chemicals. It should be entirely an organic process. And the most funny thing about this is that the LP that purported that they're the only organic one was using this highly toxic chemical on their plants. Like, that just doesn't.
Well, they've lost
it just
their
goes to show
certificate.
That you can't trust what they're putting into their plants.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they do have 7 or 8 approved pesticides, but I know lots of people who grow without having used any pesticides, and it's not good if you got to, but.
Well, and like them using those pesticides reminds me of like the gangs using all kinds of different chemicals to grow nice-looking buds for a cash crop to make money, right? Like they don't care if it's healing people or if it's harming people. They're just making cash crops. They're growing cash crops, right? So that's exactly what the government's doing then, in essence, is it not? Like,
yeah. In the end, it is a cash crop. And you can see, there's a lot of money involved. They just said destroyed what, $1.5 million almost worth of cannabis.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
and the sad thing is
if they hadn't put that stuff on there, they wouldn't be having to destroy it, would they?
Oh, for sure. But my question is like, what else is in there? And if they can't trace it back, like they're alleging, like to where this tainted product originated, that's the most scariest part of it all.
Yeah, exactly. Don't even know the source. So
yeah, Exactly.
Yeah.
And they must have been using it since the day that they started growing. And my suspicion is that all LPs use those products because Health Canada probably told them that they could.
As far
So
as
while this law firm is suing these two LPs, I think in essence they should be suing Health Canada as well because they gave them the license to grow this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know who's all they're grabbing in that lawsuit, but yeah, Health Canada should be involved in that for sure. Should be named as yeah. Okay, well, let's bring in our guest, and at this time, I'd like to welcome the person I described as a person who likes to go to the mall, or we could end up at the mall, likes to help patients. So, and that person would be Ashley Abraham. Hello, Ashley. How are you? Welcome to the Pace Radio Show.
Hi there. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be on tonight.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you here. Alicia is here as well. Say hi, Alicia.
Hi, happy Women's Day.
Hi, Alicia. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really happy to be joining you guys for Women's Day. And I was actually quoted in an article earlier today that was published online. So it's kind of getting to be quite an exciting day for me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow. Awesome. Exactly. I didn't catch the news tonight. I was busy, but I imagine there was lots of rallies out there for the Women's International Day.
I believe so. I've been stuck at the mall all day, so I haven't been out too much to see how much of the celebrations are going on and the rallies and stuff. But I imagine that there's quite a lot happening around.
The one thing I did see is that they were sort of calling it a one-day mini strike by women.
Not by this one.
They were suggesting for the ladies to not do what they normally do, not go into work, and
no strikes for the boss though.
Yeah, just to sort of show that hey, these are the things we do, and this is how much we mean, and you notice when you're gone. Because I can tell you,
absolutely.
I can tell you that there's lots of things that I rely on for my wife, and without her, there's lots of things that that would be missing in my life. So without her, so yeah.
Well, big shout out to your wife, absolutely.
Yeah,
and all the other women.
Everybody. That's right, exactly. They put up with some bad stuff. Whether it's sick husbands or kids or whatever, right? Alrighty. Well, before I get myself in trouble, we'll just move along here, and I'll let Alicia get the questions going. And as always, I'll just jump in as the night goes along.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good.
All right. Okay. Over to you, Alicia.
All right. So, Ashley, maybe you can start by telling us a little bit and our listeners about who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. So my name is Ashley Abraham. Of course, we've gone over that. And I am the owner of the Green Ceiling Cannabis Lounge here in Victoria, British Columbia, which is to date still the only consumption space in the city that's available for public, 19 plus. And I'm also co-founder of the Great Canadian Canna Mall, which is in collaboration. The Green Ceiling falls under that umbrella, but there's a collection of brands that are operating under the one business of the Great Canadian Canna Mall.
Oh, neat. And so kind of explain that a little bit further. Like, is it like a bunch of different businesses or providers that kind of have come together? Or, like, it's basically a mall that you can go, like, I would assume, like a traditional mall, right? That you have a bunch of different vendors?
Absolutely. You come to the building and you enter in, and you're able to kind of go from shop to shop and see what the different brands have to offer. So
awesome.
We are one, all the different brands operate under one business umbrella. So it is the Great Canadian Canna Mall. However, you do find that from shop to shop, there's very different offerings. So it's really exciting in that sense that everybody's kind of able to bring their own specialty or niche to the table and provide something slightly unique from the shop that's going to be next to them.
Oh, that's so neat. And so I guess you're explicitly medical, or do you cater to both markets?
We are 19 plus adult use cannabis. So I don't really go with the labels of recreational or medical. It's just that it's available for adults who are choosing to consume it.
Oh, perfect. I love that. That's a good philosophy for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, so your activism, you obviously are active in your community, and what do you do in terms of activism to kind of push your envelope and make people aware?
Absolutely. Absolutely active in the community here. Just opening the doors to the lounge was a huge push in this community, as nobody had done that yet in years, and the city was definitely a little resilient to the idea, resistant. They put in bylaw into place, actually. They made it up, and then started fining us for allowing consumption on site of our business, and kind of came at us a little bit hard, but we definitely gave a lot of pushback. I brought all the tickets in for dispute, still waiting to hear the results of that. But, definitely every time they came in and pushed me, I pushed back a little bit harder, and I think that, I got the message across that I really am trying to provide a service for the community. And so they eased off a bit. So that's part of it. And then, just the organization as a whole, the Cannamall, we are doing a lot of community initiatives. So one of them is we do a clothing and a food drive, and have been going out into our community and providing these services. There's a place called Our Place Society, and they deal with a lot of mental health and addictions. And we like to go in there and just bring a lot of cheer. So, once every few months, we'll cook up a couple big pots of chili and head down there and hand it out to all the people who are, using the services.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really good to hear. I love stories like that. That's so neat. And so back to the bylaw enforcement. So law enforcement has kind of left you alone, but it's the bylaw enforcement that's kind of like on your tail. Is that correct?
That's correct. And that's specifically to the Green Ceiling Lounge. So, the way our building is set up is quite unique. We've got the lounge and the consumption site on one half of the building. It's completely separated from the retail portion of the Cannamall.
Okay.
So, so all of the hassle has come towards allowing the consumption on site, and that has been specific to the Green Ceiling. Whereas the Cannamall side, we've had no interaction with police enforcement or by law enforcement, which is quite nice for us so far.
Oh, so basically their only issue is that you have customers consuming cannabis on site.
That's correct.
So you have a whole mall. You have a whole mall based on cannabis, and they're only worried about you smoking. You have a whole mall based on cannabis, and their only concern is smoking.
That's correct. That's correct. The way that the city, we're kind of in a unique situation here in Victoria. Our municipality, like our local government, has decided to regulate and license cannabis dispensaries. And part of that licensing is a whole rezoning application process. And in order to go through that rezoning application, they created a list of bylaws relevant, just specific for cannabis businesses. And one of those bylaws is to not allow consumption on site.
Oh, that's unfortunate, because I just saw something about Colorado, how that's a big thing right now, is that they want like vape lounges and bars and stuff to be able to consume cannabis in a social environment, because historically that's something that's been shunned. And cannabis users haven't had that convenience like alcohol users to be able to meet in a social setting and be able to, share their cannabis and act like law-abiding citizens as someone would go to like a bar, right? So that's kind of unfortunate. And has anyone explained or said why that is?
I think that they're sorting out, their regulations as they go along, and that it's one of the points that they fell short of the mark on. Especially, you brought up Colorado, and I'm just seeing time and time again examples in these states where they have introduced recreational market, but not allowed consumption sites, that it is an issue, and it is something that's being brought to the table now, later in the game. Yeah. And people are saying this is needed. Also, the task force that put forward the recommendations to our government for legalization included cannabis lounges in a positive note in their recommendations.
What they could do is, here in Ontario, like we've had like 20 vape lounges, and yet you get more trouble at one bar that serves alcohol versus 20 lounges, cannabis lounges.
Absolutely.
There's no evidence to show that they're a problem. They actually are a benefit to the community.
A huge benefit.
Oh, for sure. And I think that cannabis users should be afforded that same respect, that they should have a social setting that they can go that's safe, that's regulated, and that's an establishment to use cannabis. Like, I'm not sure what the issue is, but I think that perhaps like people like Ashley changing that ideology that like, look, this is perfectly okay. Like, so do you get quite busy? Like, do you get packed houses at your, like, you're still operating your lounge then? Is that correct?
Absolutely. We're in full operation. Things are in full swing there right now. We're open 7 days a week, and it's always steady. It's always there's, from the moment we open the doors in the morning until we close at night, there are people who are accessing the space, and then we host special events. So we have art shows, open mic, music events, karaoke. We've had workshops, yoga, meditation, seminars, like you name it, we're holding it in the space. And as soon as we have an event, the place is packed. So it's quite nice.
So there's definitely a demand for it, for sure, and an appreciation for it as well.
There's a huge demand for it. I noticed, we had a New Year's Eve party, and we extended our hours a bit so that we could have the New Year's countdown. And the amount of people that were so grateful for an alternative to the bar scene, but to still be able to gather as adults and have a fun time, it really showed that there's a need for these spaces that allow cannabis use.
Oh, that's awesome. I really like that example about New Year's Eve, because that is true. Like, I would prefer to go to a lounge as opposed to like a bar as well. So yeah, I hope that expands across the country for sure.
Oh,
for sure. And so I suspect that you probably have some, even though you don't use the labels, but you have some medicinal patients that probably come, and it's kind of like a gathering place for people to meet up and kind of have that social interaction.
Absolutely. There are, and you're right, just, just because I don't tend to use the labels doesn't mean, we see people of all walks of life through here. I have a lot of regulars who come through who are seniors, who like to come in to use the equipment. We have, a lot of medical. I'm actually saving up right now. I want to get an electric door opener, because we do have quite a few patients. We have quite a few regulars who come through who are in wheelchairs, and they're able to access the lounge space. And so, we see all walks of life come through our doors for sure.
Awesome. And so in terms of your products, I guess that's specific to each kind of vendor or mall participant. Like, you probably have all types of different products from, can you kind of maybe cover a little bit what each, I guess it's probably abundant, but so you...
Absolutely. I can do a little bit of a walkthrough of them all, for sure.
Yeah,
so, of course, in the lounge space, we don't actually retail any cannabis products. We do have pop and chips and everything good like that, and the equipment for people to be able to use for cannabis. But right next door, when you go into the retail portion, there we have Skunt and Panda's Shatter Shack, Potent Industry, Euphoria's Potions and Edibles. We have Health Aware Consulting. So they actually, we even have a consulting service that helps people set up with their Health Canada and the licensed producer system if they wish to go that route.
Awesome.
We have Cannabis Life Network is just in the process of doing the final touches on their studio. So we're going to be doing in-house media production. And Treehouse Club, it's a head shop that just opened up. So they've got everything from the, rolling papers, bongs, detox kits, just incense, everything that a proper little heady shop would have.
Wow.
You got the Panda's Shatter Shack selling edibles, and they're coming in and hassling people about smoking.
We sell, like, honestly, the brands that are in there sell everything from top-end concentrates. There's edibles, topicals, suppositories, glassware that you can, smoke out of. Just absolutely everything. It's the one-stop shop for cannabis.
Very nice.
And so in order to purchase from each place, do you have to contact them directly, or is it kind of one main hub that you can access, or you have to be in contact with each? And do you have a membership? How does that work?
Yeah, so you come on in. It's 19 plus, so everybody who enters the premise needs to have their ID on them. And then each particular brand has their own requirements for purchasing through them. So, for example, something like the Treehouse shop, if you're just going in and getting some papers and a bong, you would likely just need to show your ID. And then I know that some of the other places, you sign up, but it's quite an easy sign-up process.
Awesome. And so I like the fact that you said that you ID people. That's really awesome. So that's a standard practice, as if you were a tobacco shop then.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody, whether they're purchasing at the mall or popping into the lounge, needs to have ID on their person, government issued and valid.
Neat. Okay. And so I guess in your experience, have you ever had minors trying to come in?
Luckily, that isn't an issue we've faced so far, and so.
Oh, good.
I mean, we do. Yeah, we're pretty vigilant on it, and so there's a couple times where there's been a person in the group who doesn't have their ID on them, and they're like, "Oh, well, everybody else has their ID. Can't we just skip it this time?" And I'll send the entire group out the door. I have no problem doing that because it's just, So I think that maybe that has been an attempt. I could assume, but I haven't had anybody try and, use IDs that weren't the proper date, or I think, pretty good for that here.
Awesome. So I like that policy that you're very strict with that 19 showing the ID. That's awesome, because I guess that's part of the government's argument is that, kids are buying cannabis so they can have access to cannabis. So that's awesome. And I believe that most, dispensaries and such would require ID. So no, that's awesome. That just goes to show that dispensaries are a very good service to the community for sure. Because, how do kids get drugs then, right? If they're being ID'd, so that really throws out the government's argument. That's awesome. I appreciate that for sure. And so in terms of 420, do you have an annual event or what goes on there for 420?
I'm going to jump in here.
For sure.
We'll talk about the 420 when we come back from break time.
Hey, sounds good.
All right, we're just going to take a quick break, and then we'll talk about the 420 when we get back. Tonight's appropriate music is by the Killing Time Band, and we're going to hear some of their songs called Hippie Girl. When we return, we'll continue our talk with Ashley Abraham. This is the Pace Radio Show on LifestyleRadio.net. This is the Pace Radio Show.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
After the show, man, we headed out to the parking lot. Lots of folks sitting around getting way messed up. This scene got crazy, man, and I had to split. Lost my mind, jumped in a ride. We drove down further, man, south past the grotto. Town to town, we went to Colorado. We found another show and scored ourselves some tickets. Met some girls, man, and now it's time to take it.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
The following is a public service announcement from the Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society. The Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society is a non-profit organization dedicated to ensuring improved access to therapeutic cannabis and cannabis byproducts in Canada. With a federal government that has committed to legalizing cannabis, we feel it is our duty to ensure that the medicinal use of cannabis doesn't get lost in the process and that there are clear distinctions made between the medicinal and recreational use of cannabis. It is our mission to ensure that government regulation doesn't get in the way of a sick, disabled, or terminally ill person's right to use or produce this amazing natural health product. If you would like to get involved, you can contact us on the internet www.canadiantherapeuticCannabisPartners.com, on Facebook, CTCP Society, or search Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners.
CTCP now operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CTCP.
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck, Crop King, and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education? Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
BMA offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to BMA Hydroponics and prove it. Hello and welcome back. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show, and we are live here at lifestyleradio.net, and we're also, you can find us live at Spreaker, Shoutcast, TuneIn Radio. Plus, don't forget to stop in here at Canada's. We're live here as well. You can get involved in the conversation. And I watched a car drive by here really slowly. I think he was looking at our free cannabis information sign that was sitting out front. I think he was interested in it. Talking about Canada's, this Friday is their grand opening, so make sure you stop in and check the place out. If you're not local and not able to come in, then check us out online. We're going to be broadcasting all day long here on Lifestyle Radio. The opening, we've got some guests that we're going to have call in. We're going to have them talking about topicals. A fellow who owns a vapor lounge is going to be here. Cannabis historian. And I had him on the show years ago, and I'll tell you, this guy goes well back beyond 1960, if you only think cannabis came around then. And we're going to have a fella in who's going to talk to us about what's happening south of the border, plus there's a few others. So everything gets going around 10 o'clock, and we'll be here all day long, right through till 9 o'clock at night, I believe. So tune in to lifestyleradio.net, and then sit back and enjoy the show. Tonight on our program, we have our guest, Ashley Abraham, and she's with the Green Ceiling, as well as a great Canadian Cannamall, and our new joint host, Alicia Yashcheshen. Oh, Alicia, just so you know,
Hi.
Today when I was taking down some notes, I was able to spell your last name without double-checking to see if I got it spelled right.
Oh, wow. Good job.
Yeah.
You know how long it took
Wayne's
you to learn
looking
that
at me
in
with a
grade
big grin on his face.
That's awesome.
Hey, I got that. So I was happy there. All right. Before the break, we're talking about the Cannamall and that with Ashley. And I think you were just asking Ashley a question before I jumped in to go to the break.
For sure. Before we go to this year 420 event, how long have you been open? When did you open your doors?
I actually opened April 18th of 2016, so 2 days before 420 of last year.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And so in terms of 420, what do you do for 420? Sorry.
Well, last year, I was still just trying to wrap my head around the fact that I had opened a vapor lounge 2 days before. It was
awesome.
It was quite, I was still a bit in a haze. I think I still am a little bit, like, some days wake up and like, what dream am I living right now? And so for 420 this year, I guess you can absolutely say that the Cannamall is doing an annual event. This is going to be our first big one together, and we've got a whole day of entertainment lined up. We're going to be doing music entertainment, some comedy, speakers, and just kind of having an all-day, really awesome party of it here at the Cannamall.
Oh, awesome. And so we'll take it one step back. What brought you to open your business?
Yes. Well, I've been interested and involved in cannabis for a very long time. I first started consuming when I was 13. I know that's not what anybody wants to hear, but it's the truth. I dealt with chronic pain for a lot of my life and started using cannabis at quite a young age to help manage that as I was going through school. And so being so in love with the plant, as I got older, I found that as I was doing all of my traveling, it was always to places in the world that were cannabis friendly. I've gone to Amsterdam a couple times. I often found myself down in Jamaica. And it was actually on my last trip to Amsterdam, and I was sitting with a group of friends in a coffee shop, and we were smoking a joint, and I just looked around the table and said, I'm going to go home and open a lounge in Victoria because I feel like my hometown needs this. And we all had a good chuckle, of course, because we're sitting there and it's 10 o'clock at night and we're just absolutely blasted. But we had a good chuckle, and then I was like, but no, guys, I'm serious. I'm going to do this. And that was in 2015. So from that day forward, even when we were on the trip, every moment I was talking about it and just started to really manifest it and draw it into reality. And just every day at that point too, I guess I should say, I had been working for 2.5 years at the Vancouver Island Compassion Society, which is one of the longest standing medical dispensaries here in Victoria. And so I had been really involved, immersed in the community, and I could just see a need from the members there that, you know, people needed a spot to consume in Victoria.
Awesome. And so what led you to pick the building that you did? Was it location? Was it cost? Was it a variety of different things? And your location that you're in now was the very first opening location, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, this was my first opening location. To be completely honest, availability. And so when I first came back, so I had the idea to open in the Vapor Lounge, and this was in March of 2015. And I was, you know, I had my head in the clouds. I thought that if I really hustled, I could find a spot and be open for April 20th of that year. And, you know, giving myself a month to find a lease location, investors, put a business plan together. Of course, that didn't happen. And so right at the time, so I came back to Victoria, and I started working on all that, putting my business together, and immediately started looking for a lease location. And it was at the exact same time that there was a huge boom in the amount of dispensaries here in Victoria. So during that same year that I was searching for a lease location, we went from having 4 or 5 operating dispensaries to having over 30. And what I found was every time that I was in a location that seemed suitable, I was in a bidding war with dispensaries to get that same location. And quite often the dispensary business model allowed for them to outbid me on the rent. So fast forward this, I'd been searching for a year. I had been laughed off the phone. I had been outbid. And then there's also just a lot of properties in Victoria that are they're owned by very conservative people, or even owned by like trust boards, and they just won't lease to anything to do with cannabis. Meaning that there was just a lot of places that were absolutely willing to remain empty rather than lease out to anybody involved in cannabis.
You seem to have found a very interesting spot, though, a location.
Yeah. So getting here is I actually came to the building. It used to be owned by a tile company, and I came here to shop for tiles for a bathroom renovation that I was doing, and I noticed a very small handwritten for lease sign in a corner window and decided to pursue it. And that's how we ended up where we are. Is I pursued that landlord, and he was willing to hear me out, but he wasn't completely sold on the idea. So it took about a month of courting him, I'd say, or, you know, basically I phoned him every week and told him that I would continue phoning him every week until he gave me what I wanted.
Well, that's awesome. And so at this point in the game, you obviously have good relations with your landlord then. Like they're supportive of your mandate and what you do and what you provide?
Absolutely.
Well, that's awesome.
There's no way that this project, that this business would have developed to the point that it has without the full support of the landlord. So we're quite lucky in that sense that we found somebody who's definitely very progressive and a forward thinker.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And so, as a member of the mall, how do you get in the mall? And are you expanding, or do you just have a certain amount of people that can dispense from your mall and that's it? Or do you have people constantly approaching you and saying, hey, can we sell our products with you?
Yes. So there's a lot of questions there. The answer is we are expanding. So since the Green Ceiling took over, we leased out, about 1/4 of the building. And since taking over that portion, we had the other half of the building leased out under the Great Canadian Cannibal. So that's been taken over. Now we have been renovating and pushing back into the building and making more space available. And so we are currently accepting applications for new tenants. And we've received quite a lot, but we are just really looking forward we're looking to move forward with kind of the best who present and who are, wanting to move forward in this kind of really neat, progressive way. Because it takes a certain, it takes team players to be here for sure.
It sounds like you've got enough that you can. Sounds like you've got enough people that you can, sort of be choosy, but not choosy, but still see, have decide on who you want instead of just everybody who comes first.
That's exactly it. I mean, it is definitely a desirable location when coming, when coming to Victoria and looking at, where can we put our products, where can we put our brand, because we are building it out as the one-stop shop in Victoria. So we definitely already noticed last year that there was a huge amount of tourists that were finding us, that were coming in off the cruise ships, that were just in town for holidays. So I'm just seeing a huge expansion on that this year as we move into tourism season. And I'm really excited for what that will offer to all the different the brands that are in here.
Yeah. Yes.
And so I guess, how do you deal with competing issues, like, or interest, like if one provider has edibles, and then, or do you just only allow people from different, like, sectors of the market, like edibles, bud, like, how does that work? Like, so that people aren't competing with one another? Is that something that's kind of...
There's definitely some good, friendly competition that goes on here. So we don't limit it to like, okay, you can only sell flour and you can only sell this. Now, we've built it out so that each place definitely has their specialty and their focus, and a reason why somebody might go to that shop for edibles or a particular shop for concentrate. However, we haven't limited it to that, because just as when, as a customer, if you go to the mall, the reason why you choose to go to the mall is because there's 10 different shoe stores to pick from. And so we're really wanting to provide that same experience for the customers who come here. And rather than us decide what it is that they're going to purchase and from where, we can allow them to choose that. And then it's up to the individual brand to put forward their absolute best and to, therefore draw the customers to come to them for that reason.
Oh, awesome. I like that. That's a good concept for sure. And so I guess future goals for the mall, what are we looking at? Are you looking to expand? Tell us a little bit about that. I think you kind of touched on it, but that you were doing some renovations and such. But if you wanted to kind of dig into that a little bit deeper and let us know.
Absolutely. So we are, we're expanding. We're always evolving the structure and just tightening it up. So kind of really finding a way to get all the brands working well together, doing our, marketing together. We're going to be doing some really amazing events come summer, and having a big presence out in the community and at different events. But yeah, we're looking at expanding. We want some more tenants in here, absolutely. And I actually heard that there is going to be the launch of the Cannibal Candy Shop very shortly. So one of the rooms is being fully remodeled to be a complete cannabis candy shop. So they'll have all of the lollipops, candy, cotton candy, suckers, gummies, caramels, basically everything that you can think of. And it's going to be a very retro style candy shop. So that's exciting.
Sounds like the Sweet Tooth stop.
Yep, exactly.
Go ahead.
And so how many square feet is your building? Just for our listeners to kind of get a mental image of...
I'm the worst person to ask for that.
Sorry.
I no, it's okay. It's just oh man, we've actually just had a huge building plan done up, and so that answer should be really easily available, but I don't have it at the moment. It's quite large. I mean, we are, you know, we kind of take up about half this city block for you know, on Quadra here. So yeah, it's quite a large building. We've got a big footprint here.
Was the landlord, did he just rent you a part of the building, and then each time you want to expand, you rent a little bit more of the building, or did he rent the whole building to you in the beginning?
Well, in the very beginning, when it was just the lounge, I leased out, you know, the corner of it, and then since then, in one other transaction, the rest of the building was leased out.
Yeah. Okay. I've just said I've seen that.
But it's been a very organic. It's, you know, to be honest, it's been a very organic growth over, like, very organic expansion over the last year.
Yeah. It's
awesome.
You need to expand. Bring it east.
You know, that is something that it would be a lot of fun to do, and I think that it is potentially a model that could be repeated. So
yeah,
you know, bring it east, bring it south.
Yeah,
like the Great American Cannibal, that could be a thing.
And it shows that
awesome.
You know, the benefit you've brought to the community. You know, bringing in jobs, as well as all the other activities that you're doing. So, and like you mentioned during the break, like you're what, 2 blocks to a police station?
Yes, we are. We're 2 blocks away from the Victoria Police Station. We can see them from here. They can see our sign from where they are, and that means, you know, being on the route from the police station to downtown, we see them drive by and walk by on a daily basis.
Well, it's good that they walk by.
Yeah. They can just keep on walking.
Well, eventually, you know, they might stop in for, you know, if you got places that sell refreshments, you know, coffee or something.
A little coffee shop, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Some infused coffee. So.
That would be
right.
But for the most part, like, the law enforcement are respectful of your business and your mandate and what you're trying to achieve, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So the coming back to the city regulations, they do have kind of a checklist in place, including, you know, making sure that nobody under the age of 19 is on premise, certain security protocols and safety protocols. And when they came in and did a surprise inspection on the mall, we passed with flying colors. So that was really nice.
What do you do about somebody who's under 19 who's maybe licensed?
They'd have to go for a different avenue, just because of the model that we're providing here. It has to be 19 plus adult use.
Yeah. Okay. I just thought I'd ask that.
Absolutely.
And so
I'd say for them, I definitely have some really good information in regards to, you know, like, maybe it would be a good idea for them to go through the licensed producer system if they're able to accept underage patients. Yeah, I know that.
Like, I'm wondering, being that you're a 19 plus mall, to get into the mall, if somebody who was 17, or even an 8-year-old who was licensed because they say they're taking cannabis for epilepsy, they're not looking to purchase, but maybe come into the mall, and I don't know, maybe you got a vendor that sells the T-shirts or something like that.
Yeah, just unfortunately, they wouldn't be able to. This wouldn't be the spot for them to be getting the access that they're looking for.
Okay. All right. I just thought I'd ask that question. So, hey, Alicia, we got about 5 minutes.
Question. And this is, and it's such a valid question, because this is one of the scenarios that we're going to be facing as we move into recreational market. What happens to medical patients? What happens to underage medical patients? What happens to medical patients that are overage but don't find the products that they're looking for in a recreational market? These are all very, very valid questions.
Yeah, and things that you'll come across as time goes along, because really it's new for all of us. There's always something new that's going to come along.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean that's one of the exciting challenges that we are facing as this industry emerges is how do we do this in the best possible fashion.
Yeah, you're not following anybody, you're leading on this when it comes to something like this, like a mall.
Yeah, kind of forging the path and being absolutely mindful that it is that it's an appropriate one.
Yeah, exactly. Because others are watching, and so far, obviously, everything's been going good for you. Other than that one little issue, which you are dealing with.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I think even these issues, this opposition and receiving the fines and the bylaws, these are the kind of things that happen so that people like myself can push back, and that's how change is made. So it's about that kind of exchange of energy, and then that's where progress can come from.
Yep, completely agree. That's how you make changes. Stand up, get your voice heard, and people, eventually, hopefully, the council there in Victoria will be supportive. Like I know, the Toronto, when they had like a dozen of these vapor lounges, and they didn't have any regulations for them or anything, and then eventually they did form a committee that looked into it, and they started calling them medical marijuana consumption facilities. They weren't calling them vapor lounges. And, they did a big review about it and all that. And then this was back in 2012. And then they just stopped. Some of the lounges shut down because there was concern that their business, they would lose their business. But it just all of a sudden went quiet and the lounges were operating. I did a report for Treating Yourself magazine. And at that time, when it comes to police interactions, very, very, very minimal, especially when some of the places have been around for over a dozen years. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yep,
so,
exactly.
I mean, I guess it also goes to show I don't have the, of course, I don't have the stats or the numbers on how many police interactions that somewhere like, say, a local bar or nightclub would have, but I'm thinking that if you were to compare them, that it wouldn't even be comparable.
No, it wouldn't. Between the troubles that are caused, and even in Toronto, you could say shootings.
Yep.
And you don't see that in the cannabis end of it, of the vapor lounges and all that. So
no, definitely, violence and aggression is on the lowest. That's one of the lowest concerns, least concerns for us here.
That's right. Well, non-issue. Alicia, you still there with us?
Oh.
Yeah, you.
I just have one question in terms of the bylaws. Like, who's enforcing that? It's not the city police, but like a bylaw enforcement officer, correct?
Well, there's bylaw enforcement officers, absolutely. But the first time they came in with a cease and desist letter, and they had police officers with them. And that cease and desist letter that they gave me permission to operate until the end of that evening. So they weren't asking me to shut down that night. They just said, we want you to wrap up this evening and not open again tomorrow. This is back in October. And I was like, whatever. And they're like, well, what do you plan on doing? And I said, I'm coming to work tomorrow. I'm opening my shop. I said, what are you doing tomorrow? He said, well, we're going to come give you a ticket. And I said, well, I guess I'll see you tomorrow. So they came in the next day and they, again, had police officers with them. I guess it was just to make sure that I was going to be compliant or non-aggressive, which of course I was. I just accepted the tickets and I said, I'm bringing these in for dispute. Have a good day, be safe. And they'd go on their way. So I was always very pleasant. And it actually got to the point where by the fourth ticket, the bylaw officer and myself were on a first name basis. And we received 7 tickets in total. But by that 4th ticket, they weren't bringing police officers in with them anymore. It would just be the bylaw officer by herself. She'd come in, hey, Ashley. Hi, Kim. How are you doing? Here's your ticket. Yeah, we're all just doing our jobs here, Kim. And then she'd kind of go on her way.
Yeah.
And how much was the ticket for?
$500 per ticket. So we received $3,500 in fines in a 6-week period.
So total, how much are they alleging that you would owe in like the fines? $3,500. Okay, and so they don't tack on an extra fee if you don't pay them or something, and
well, because I brought them all in for dispute. So that's the nice thing about bylaw tickets is, they try and make it seem like, oh, here's this ticket, you have to come down and pay it. But that's the furthest thing from the truth. There's lots of options to dispute it. You can dispute it online. You can bring it in person and dispute it. And so I did those. And then one of the tickets actually slipped by me, and I forgot to bring it in for dispute. So the next thing was they sent me a letter saying, you have 14 days to pay this. But even at that point, you can still take your tickets in to the courthouse and bring them in for dispute after the fact. So they try and muscle it. It's a little bit of an extortion tactic as far as I'm concerned, and I'm just not willing to give in to that. So, yeah, I'm just kind of standing firm, brought that other ticket into the courthouse, put it in for dispute, and that's just the way that it's going to be.
And so when they say you can dispute it, is that like you go before a judge, you have the hearing? What does that entail? Is that a written appeal?
I think so. So I'm waiting still to hear back from them regarding a date to go in and defend it. But that was what they said the next step was to have a court date.
Okay, I got to jump in here. We're running a little bit long before a break, so we'll go to break time. And we're going to hear some more of the Killing Time Band. All right, ladies?
Sounds great. Good. Thank you, Al.
Okay, and we're going to hear that same song, Hippie Girl, a little bit different. And then when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Ashley. This is Pace Radio Show here on LifestyleRadio.net. This is Pace Radio Show here on Lifestyle.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
After the show, man, we headed out to the parking lot. Lots of folks sitting around getting way messed up. This scene got crazy, man, and I had to split. Lost my mind, jumped in a ride. We drove down further, man, south past the grotto. Town to town, we went to Colorado. Another show and scored ourselves some tickets. Met some girls, man, and now it's time to take it.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
BMA offers cannabinoid testing, so if you want to prove you've got good medicine, head to BMA Hydroponics and prove it.
Man, have you been to Canadays yet? Canadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck, Crop King, and wholesaler Nexus. Canadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canadays. Have your say without saying a word. Canadays.ca.
Hi, this is Al Graham of the Pace Radio Show. Are you keeping pace, as in keeping people advocating cannabis education? If you're not, and you're a cannabis consumer, then why not? Others are working hard every day to help educate people about cannabis so you can enjoy your daily 420. Get involved and speak out. Be loud and proud so that you can keep pace. Tune into the Pace Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear about people advocating cannabis education here on lifestyleradio.ca.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Hey, we're back. This is the Pace Radio Show. We're being broadcasted always at lifestyleradio.net, or you can catch a podcast at Mixcloud, YouTube, iTunes, and if you live in the USA, you can pick us up down there on iHeartRadio. Tonight, our bumper music was by the Killing Time Band, well-known band here in Ontario, and you'll catch them at many cannabis events. Many in the cannabis community enjoy them. And I know this year they'll be returning to the 420 celebrations in Toronto, and it will be the last time that there will be a 420 held at Yonge and Dundas Square. The city has asked them to find a new location. The square has just got too small. They're closing off streets and everything in order to try to handle everybody. So I know that the group was looking at a few different locations, and they had a poll on their Facebook page. So check it out and see what happens for next year. Tonight on the program, we're joined by our guest, Ashley Abraham of the Green Ceiling Vapor Lounge, and she's also with the Great Canadian Canna Mall. Geez, I think we need more of them. And our new joint host, Alicia Yashcheshen. Well, Alicia, you've gotten through the first hour plus of your new program. We got another 20 minutes left. You gonna make her?
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited to hear about Ashley's recent attendance at a conference. So I'll throw the floor out to her and ask her how that went and where she went.
I had an amazing trip recently down to San Francisco for the International Cannabis Business Conference. And it was a really, really exciting opportunity. I saw that Henry Rollins was a keynote speaker and just got it in my head that I really wanted to hear what he had to say about cannabis legalization. So much the same way that I got the idea in my head that I wanted to open a vapor lounge, I was like, I want to be in San Francisco for this conference. And very last minute at that. So Cannabis Life Network actually was able to provide some media passes for me and my friend Julia, who's an amazing writer, to go down to this conference. And we borrowed a car, a little Prius, so a hybrid, and we drove down there. and we're able to attend this amazing one-day business-oriented conference. So it was
awesome.
a really, really exciting opportunity for us. And we managed to make it in time to catch Henry Rollins speak, which was fantastic. And John Sally was also there. So that was really exciting. And we also had an opportunity to meet Tommy Chong.
So tell us about that. How was he? Like, what is he like in person?
He's amazing. He was quite busy, but despite his busyness, he still kind of made time for everybody to have their kind of own little moment and to chat with him. And so I was really, really excited to have the opportunity to just tell him about the Great Canadian Cannibal. He's actually from up this way, and he has family from here on the island. And he's quite familiar with the Vancouver, Victoria area. So that was exciting for him to hear about this expansion, to hear about these, the progression that's happened up here. And,
awesome.
and in part of, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, in part of that, I was able to share with him the fact that we are expanding and that we do have spaces available in the mall. And he just very casually kind of looked at me and perked up, and he was like, would you maybe have space for a Cheech and Chong store? And at that moment I was like, I think that's something we're going to need to chat about. So it was a very kind of offhand comment, but I think that it's definitely one that I want to put in his ear a little more, and we'd definitely be receptive to having an amazing brand like that come in under the umbrella.
Awesome. And so he has stores in other places, is that correct? And
I haven't actually looked too much into that, but I do know that there's they definitely have a brand going. So
yeah, he's got his own bongs. There was a movie, AKA 47, I think is what it was, on his episode of being busted for the bongs, selling them in illegal states, being set up for those sales, by the way. And he served 9 months in U.S. jail.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
Yeah, AKA Tommy Chong is what the movie was called.
You're going to have to look that one up.
Yeah, it was one of the movies that I used to show in the documentary series that I did. Yeah, take a look at it.
I'm going to, absolutely. I just jotted a note down right there.
Awesome. And so in terms of the conference, did you come across any different types of technologies in terms of making cannabis products, or see any different things that you haven't really seen in Canada?
One thing that I saw, and there was a really neat, and I got to look more into kind of their organization and structure to see exactly how it's done, but a company called True Humboldt, and they seemed to be a collective of different farmers. So this company is sourcing from a whole collective of different farmers, and they're able to bring the people's cannabis under their brand and provide, the branding, the packaging, the marketing, the sales, and just allow the farmers to do what it is what they do best, which is the growing. And I thought that was kind of an interesting model. So that was definitely something I'd want to explore a little further. And then also, I was really impressed. Their pre-roll game down there is just on point. They definitely have some really neat branded and packaged pre-roll joints, which I thought was, we're getting into pre-rolls up here a bit more, but they usually come, just out of a glass jar into a bag. And so I did like the product branding and packaging that I was seeing down there.
Oh,
Pre-rolled
awesome.
dubs,
And
carry them all the time.
Oh, go ahead.
Pre-rolled dubs, I carried them all the time. But unfortunately, I can't buy them anywhere though, which would be really nice. You can go to the liquor store and buy a beer.
Right? What a time saver.
Yeah, exactly.
So you think
So
that that's the way that the industry is going to go in terms of convenience, that you'll be able to pick up a joint just like a bottle of booze? Oh, I can see it. Is that something you foresee then?
Absolutely. I mean, definitely as we move into an adult use market, things that are going to be convenient, things that are, and it's not only going to be about convenience, it's going to be about the branding and packaging. It's going to be about the presentation, and even more than that, I think that as we move into cannabis legalization, more and more so, we're going to see the value-added industry explode and take off. And it's not just going to be about, being able to grow cannabis anymore. It's going to be what can you do with that to make it appealing to the consumer. And we're already seeing that. So to keep up with that, it's just going to be about making sure that everything's, like you need to have a good product. That's going to be really important. Like obviously that's number one, but it's going to be equally as important that you have a really solid brand and presence behind it.
For sure. And so at this point, what does legalization mean to you? What would that mean to your business, your world? Like, would it affect you in any kind of way, negatively, positively?
Oh, it's so hard
business
to say
as usual
at this point without knowing what it is, their world of legalization looks like. For myself, I see it as, regardless, moving forward with legalization and taking cannabis out of the closet, taking it out of the basement is important. It's crucial. It's number one. And so I really want to see it move forward with allowances for craft industry. I think that that's very important. And that's kind of really what we're sorting out right now is this, is this going strictly to big business? Is there going to be a market for craft producers? Like what does that look like? So, I mean, of course, legalization in any form that it comes in is going to affect any business in relation to cannabis. But I think that it is going to be positive, and it's just about kind of seeing what framework they unroll and how we can, work into that. And as they are putting these regulations together, just being very active and having a voice and saying that, there are these needs here, so that, they will take that into account and consideration.
Awesome. And so in terms of your local community, do you still have a lot of like activist events going on, like protests or anything of the sort when the new regulations in terms of bylaws were brought in? Did you have any other, like, I guess, competitors that were kind of trying to stand up to that? Or was it just kind of like still behind closed doors? Like how was that received? Like, because when the bylaw were put into place, when was that? Was that just recently, wasn't it?
This was all within the last few months. And so there was open community, like there was open meetings at City Hall where they opened up the microphone and people were able to get up and speak. And those were very well attended. And so definitely we saw a lot of representation from the cannabis community at those town hall events, speaking directly to mayor and council. And so they opened it up quite wide for the public to be able to go in and speak. And then also, as we started receiving the bylaw fines, there were a group of just individuals who took it upon themselves to start a weekly protest at the City Hall until we stopped receiving the fines. And they kept that up once a week. They were going down to the City Hall and just having a smoke out in front of the City Hall and just reminding them that if you don't allow spaces for consumption, this is what it looks like. And so that was really, kind of amazing to feel the community spirit there. And they just kind of spearheaded that initiative on their own and took it upon themselves to have a presence down there. And then, Victoria is quite active. There's the weekly Hempology 101 meetings that happen up at the University of Victoria. And there's just some really amazing movements in this city that are quite active.
Okay,
awesome. So you're definitely supported by your consumers then.
Okay,
awesome. So you're definitely supported by your consumers then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We feel a lot of support. We feel a lot of support by the consumers, the clients, the members who come through here. We feel a lot of support from our fellow cannabis community. Definitely Victoria has a good amount of energy like that. So, you know, we all send each other well wishes and kind of keep each other in the loop as to what's happening with the regulations, the bylaws. And yeah, it's a good community that we have on the island here.
I have a question for both of you. Don't you find it interesting now that we're talking about how legalization will look instead of fighting for legalization?
Oh, I know. I love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the dynamic of the conversation has definitely shifted, and it's going in a really good direction. So, you know, these are the conversations as I was growing up and as I was, you know, using cannabis throughout my teens. I definitely didn't see myself having these conversations or being part of shaping the landscape. And so to be able to be a part of that is really exciting for me.
It is. I'm sure it's exciting for a lot of people to be involved in all this, to see it change. All right. Alicia, have you got any more questions you want to throw at Ashley before we go to the shout out?
I just want to be clear. So has the bylaw enforcement tickets stopped, or are they continuing to ticket you since the ones that they've already given you?
We haven't received another bylaw ticket since November.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it was right around the same time that the federal task force recommendations came out that the city stopped aggressively fining the green ceiling. So they had previously said that they were going to take direction from the federal government and the task force recommendations. And so it seems like there's a correlation there. It's just me kind of speculating at this point, but I think that maybe that recommendation and that favorable opinion on cannabis lounges in the task force recommendations has helped the city to, you know, kind of take a little bit of an easier stance.
And so in terms of you disputing those tickets, you're hoping that they change their position on vape lounges, not vape lounges, but lounges in themselves. Is that kind of your mission here?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
I mean, I'd much rather them, instead of just saying consumption isn't allowed, let's come up with some really good, clear guidelines under which consumption is allowed, because, you know, for the city to move forward with licensing and regulating dispensaries and saying, okay, people can purchase cannabis at all these places, but we're not going to look at the idea of having a place for them to consume it. It's like they're creating problems. And I think that we do have a very progressive and forward-thinking mayor and council, and I just think that it was something that they were a little short-sighted on, and that as we move forward, they'll be able to make some adjustments and have it fall a little more in line with what people need in this city.
And so has the city council ever purported the reason for that they're against like lounges? Have they ever said?
The cannabis lounges, have they said a reason why they're against it? They came out, they said they don't want consumption on site causing, you know, neighborhood nuisances is one. They haven't been very clear. No, the answer is no. They don't have a definite, like, this is why it shouldn't be allowed. And I think that's why it's going to be quite, you know,
they don't know. They don't know what's going to happen, so they're scared of the unknown. And you know, like I said, if they just come here to Ontario, talk to the Toronto council, they'll find that, you know, the police aren't very busy with them. There's not that much trouble at them.
Absolutely. And, you know, part of me almost feels, too, like maybe because they were going through with the regulation licensing of dispensaries, that they just didn't want to come out in full favor of everything. Like, it could be just a public play also. And again, just 100% speculation, but, you know, it could just be a little bit of lip service for the public so that the mayor and council aren't just seen as being that cannabis council.
That's right.
Right.
Okay, I've got to jump in here, Alicia, and get you to stop the questions.
Absolutely.
All right, because I got to allow time for Ashley to do a shout out.
For sure. No worries. I'm just so nosy. I got to know these things. So I guess we'll leave it to Ashley. How can people find you? How can they contact you if they're interested in your services and products that you provide, that your vendors provide?
Well, of course, people can come down to the mall in person. We are located at 1625 Quadra Street in Victoria, British Columbia. That's a really good way to find us. We are also online. You can find me at thegreensealing.com is our website. We are on all the social media platforms at The Green Ceiling. You can. We have a contact form on the website that you can reach through. Definitely just reach out in any avenue that you feel most comfortable. And but we definitely encourage people to just come in person if they're able to and see what it is that we've got going on.
And do you have a phone number that people can reach you at should they need to?
Oh boy, a phone number, hey? We actually don't have a general line set up yet for the Canamall. We're working on getting one. However, let me just see here.
Just so that if any of the listeners wanted to call you personally with any questions or pitches or proposals.
You got a number at the Green Ceiling they can get a hold of you at?
Or email address.
I'm just pulling it up. I'm pulling it up. My internet's slow. Email. You can reach me by email at thegreenceiling@gmail.com is a really good avenue to reach me there. And hold on, I'm almost online here. Just pulling up the website.
You're not on dial-up, are you?
All right, here we go. So 778-265-3002 is the phone number for Skunk and Panda Shatter Shack, and they can get a hold of us there and kind of contact through to any of the management. So again, it's 778-265-3002 is where you can contact management for the Great Canadian Canamall.
Good. Hey, Alicia, have you got, I always ask joint hosts, this is your first time through. You got a shout out that you'd like to throw it out for somebody?
No, I would just like to wish all the women in the world a happy Women's Day, and hope that everyone felt special being a woman today, and that they did something to push forward women's human rights.
That's right. Thank you. That's good. Okay. My thank yous always go to the sponsors here at the Pace Radio Show, and that's BMA Hydroponics, who are in Belleville, bmahydroponics.com. Also, a big thank you to CC Nexus. They've got thousands of strains available, probably Canada's largest seed wholesaler. So check them out at ccnexus.global. Also, don't forget to get your go to the Pace website, pace-online.ca. Let us know you want some free stuff, and we will send that to you. Thank you to Al Rapp, man behind the baggie. You always appreciate everything he does, and we've got things planned as the year goes on, so it's going to be interesting. Also, big thank you to our guest, Ashley Abraham of the Green Ceiling Vapor Lounge in the Great Canadian Canamall. Ashley, don't forget, you've got to get that franchise. Spread that to the west or east.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much, Ashley. I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing with us your grand business and stuff, and we look forward to the expansion and hearing from
So
you
at that
again.
point, if there's any investors listening who want to take this model to the East Coast, get in touch with us.
Hey, there's an idea. Exactly. It's good. Okay, and Alicia, thank you to you. Got the show under your belt. We appreciate everything you've done. You did a great job tonight. How do you think you did?
Good. I hope that I asked Ashley all of the questions that we wanted to know about, and that we got to the heart of her activism and truly showcased her as an activist, and did her business justice. And hopefully we can attract more clientele and maybe some investors, and help her with her expansion. That's awesome. I look forward to seeing what she is achieving in the future, and just totally impressed with what she's doing now. So that's awesome.
You have to have Ashley back in the future. See how things have grown.
For sure.
All right, and the last big thank you tonight goes out to our listeners. We always appreciate listeners to the program. Without you, we wouldn't have one. So thank you, and good night. Thank you, and good night.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
I'm trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have had it.